This video is my Redline restoration tip on how to remove paint from plastic parts. Let's see what's rolling in on the hauler today. It is a 1969 Hot Wheels Redline Maserati Mistral. The name Mistral is a cool breeze that flows in southern France, which is what you would feel if you were driving this car since it is missing the windshield. Obviously, this car was heavily kid painted. I believe there were about 4 different colors painted onto this car: white, green, yellow, and red. So this is not intended to be a full restoration video, but I am using this car as an example to show how to remove paint from the interior plastic. So after I drilled out the car and took it apart, you can see that it originally was a red color, Spectre Flame Red, but obviously the last color that was painted on this car was an enamel red by some young artist before I acquired the car. So a lot of red on the back where the bubble windshield goes. Also had a little bit of white and red splotches here and there, and some green and some yellow on the dashboard. The next car rolling in on the hauler is also a Redline. This is a Sweet 16 1968 custom Firebird. This car was also heavily kid painted, and you can see from the view here that the front windshield was also a little bit skewed in this car. So hopefully it's salvageable, but it does have some black paint on it, and as well as the interior has a little bit of black paint around the edges. Not quite as bad a shape as the Mistral, but enough that we can take this car apart for restoration and also remove the paint from these two plastic parts. Upon opening this car, I can see that the original color was a Spectre Flame Olive. It's been coated with a couple different colors of paint, both black and red. Also had a little bit of black spray paint on the bottom. It looks like the windshield was just skewed a little bit where the hole missed the post, so hopefully this part is in good enough shape where it can be reused. Now the interior has a little bit of black paint around the edges, otherwise it's not in that bad a shape, so this should be salvageable. Next we'll take a look at the windshield. Obviously it has black paint also on the windshield. Has a little bit of scuffing on the edge where the paint is embedded in the plastic, but I think this will clean up. I've seen a lot of different methods used for removing paint from plastic, but my method is to use Easy Off oven cleaner. I've been using this for years. It works very well. The key is to make sure that you get the fume free in the blue can. This is how simple this process actually is. All you need to do is take your parts and drop them into a container. I use an old plastic jar that isn't affected by the Easy Off. Then you just spray the parts until they're submerged. You can see it's kind of a foamy spray. And then just close it up and let it sit overnight. So after the parts have sat overnight, we open the jar back up and take a look. You can see the paint in the fluid now, the dark red color, because we had quite a bit of paint on that Mistral interior. So we'll take the parts out, put them on a paper towel to clean them up. You can still see evidence of the paint, but there's nothing to worry about here. It's actually quite soft. So the first part we're going to clean up is the interior of the custom Firebird, and there wasn't much paint on this one to begin with, but it wiped off very easily. So what we're going to do now is wash it with a little bit of soap and water, and you can see that this turned out very nice. The next part to clean up is the Firebird windshield. This also still has the black paint on, but you can see it just wipes right off. There's a little bit embedded in the scuffed area, but once we take this part and clean it up with soap and water and a toothbrush, most of that paint will just disappear. And here's the end result. You can see a little bit of scuffing on the edges, both where it slipped down inside the car and on the top surface, but that will clean up and polish out later so it's usable. Now the Mistral interior, this is the part that had the most paint on it. So all I'm doing here is just trying to wipe as much loose paint off the part as I can before I clean this with soap and water. So some of the paint is kind of embedded in little recesses and cracks, so I won't be able to wipe it all off, but trust me, it will come off rather easily once this is washed in soap and water and scrubbed with the toothbrush. Here's the end result. After cleaning the part with soap and water, you can see all the paint is gone. It cleaned up very easily. So this one looked the worst to begin with and turned out quite nice in the end. I hope these tips help you going forward in your restoration work. If you haven't already, click like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.